Some scientists are now sounding the alarm.
They say Minnesota's northern forests are on the brink and could disappear within the next 50 years.
In the northern reaches of Minnesota, something has just emerged that has left scientists stunned. Beneath layers of ice, soil, and the rhythms of seasonal change, an unexpected revelation broke through, pulling the attention of researchers from across the country. It wasn't a small occurrence, nor was it the type of event that could be easily explained away as a natural anomaly. Instead, what surfaced has become a focal point of intense scientific discussion, drawing together experts in geology, biology, climatology, and even astronomy. The discovery is as raw as it is baffling, and while it is new, it has the potential to reshape how we see the region and possibly the world beyond it. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. Minnesota, often celebrated for its sprawling forests, vast lakes, and frigid winters, has always held mysteries beneath its surface. Generations of scientists have studied its glacial history, probing its soils for fossils, sediments, and remnants of ancient life. Yet even with centuries of accumulated knowledge, this emergence was wholly unanticipated. The sheer scale and complexity of what has been uncovered indicate it was forming or waiting silently for far longer than anyone realized. It appeared suddenly, as though time itself had been holding it in reserve until now. And in that dramatic arrival, it carried with it secrets that defied immediate interpretation. At the heart of this phenomenon lies a structure both organic and inorganic, bridging the worlds of biology and geology in a way that left seasoned researchers speechless. Emerging from the ground like a frozen sentinel, it seemed to pulse faintly, as if some hidden mechanism within it was alive or once had been. The outer layer bore crystalline formations unlike any native mineral ever cataloged in Minnesota. Sharp, translucent edges reflected light in shifting hues, almost as if refracting not only sunlight but something subtler, a spectrum invisible to the unaided eye. The soil around it had been disturbed, not by human hands, but by a force that seemed to have thrust this object upward with immense pressure from below. When scientists approached, their initial samples revealed an unsettling blend of organic compounds woven into the crystalline lattice. Amino acids clung to the surfaces, structured in configurations that did not match any known terrestrial arrangement. Some of these structures hinted at the building blocks of proteins, but arranged in a fashion that bent the established rules of biochemistry. It was a reminder that life, or precursors to it, might not be confined to Earth's familiar templates. For the scientific community, this was not just unusual, it was paradigm-shattering. The combination of geological rigidity with organic pliability suggested the object was more than a random natural formation. It was purposeful in its complexity, an enigma that could not be dismissed. The size of the emerging structure only heightened the astonishment. Rising nearly 12 feet above the ground at its tallest point, it was not a small fragment, but a monumental piece of something far larger buried beneath the earth. Scientists debated whether they were seeing just the exposed tip of a subterranean body that extended much deeper, possibly into cavern systems untouched for millennia. Imaging scans hinted at roots or tendrils stretching downward, intertwining with the bedrock, almost as if the object had been feeding off the Earth's minerals or simply anchoring itself for an extended dormancy. The thought that this thing had been slumbering below Minnesota's forests for countless years before deciding now to breach the surface added an almost sentient aura to the discovery. Researchers working in biology were quick to point out that the amino acids locked within the crystalline patterns seemed resistant to degradation. Tests showed they were astonishingly preserved, their bonds intact despite immense pressures and temperatures underground. This preservation baffled experts, for in ordinary conditions, such organic materials would degrade over thousands of years, if not sooner. Their longevity implied either a protective mechanism inherent in the structure itself or environmental conditions deep underground that had shielded them perfectly. The implications stretched from the possibility of uncovering new biochemical principles to rethinking how life might endure in extreme and alien environments. The timing of the emergence also puzzled observers. Minnesota's geology has been stable, with no recent seismic events powerful enough to naturally push something so large to the surface. The last major glacial retreat left behind scars in the land 10,000 years ago, yet nothing comparable to this has been found in the intervening centuries. The fact that it chose this moment to appear unsettled scientists who wondered if subtle planetary changes, whether in climate, magnetic fields, or subterranean pressures, had triggered its unveiling. This left geologists in heated debates about unseen forces acting beneath the continental crust. Climatologists added another layer to the mystery. Minnesota's winters are notoriously harsh, but recent years have brought unusual fluctuations in temperature. Warm spells have interrupted freezes, altering groundwater flows and ice depths. Some suggested these irregularities might have destabilized underground chambers, forcing the structure upward. Yet even that explanation felt incomplete. The sheer precision of its emergence, the way it thrust upward intact, undamaged by the forces of the Earth, seemed to argue against random geological happenstance. It was as if the object had been designed to rise in perfect form. The implications reached far beyond local geology. If the amino acid arrangements truly represented something non-terrestrial in origin, the discovery could stand as the first tangible evidence of an extraterrestrial influence embedded in Earth's crust. For astrobiologists, this was the material they had dreamed of encountering, a physical, testable artifact carrying molecular blueprints that deviated from our biosphere's signature. Such a revelation would suggest that Minnesota had become the site of not just a geological marvel, but potentially a cosmic message written in matter, rather than language. Yet even for those less inclined to invoke extraterrestrial origins, the discovery remained equally electrifying. If the structure proved to be a natural formation unique to Earth, it would still rewrite textbooks. The union of crystalline lattices and preserved organic compounds would force a reconsideration of how minerals and life precursors can interact. It might reveal that under immense pressures and timescales, Earth herself can generate architectures that mimic the complexity of biology. This would bridge the gap between lifeless matter and organized organic chemistry, providing a missing piece in the puzzle of life's emergence. The environment around the emergence zone has already begun to change. Vegetation near the site exhibited signs of accelerated growth, as though stimulated by unseen factors radiating from the structure. Microscopic surveys of local mosses and lichens revealed higher rates of cellular division, suggesting an influence beyond mere nutrient shifts in the soil. Scientists collected air samples, only to find trace gases never before identified, though in concentrations too faint to pose immediate risk. These findings intensified speculation that the structure was emitting subtle energies or chemical signals into its surroundings, reshaping the micro-ecosystem in ways that could expand outward with time. As more instruments were deployed, magnetic anomalies were recorded in the area. Compasses wavered unpredictably, and sensitive magnetometers registered pulses not tied to any known natural cycle. The pulses seemed rhythmic, almost deliberate, as though signaling or calibrating with unseen frequencies. Some researchers likened it to the way whales emit patterned sounds in the ocean, communication layered in rhythms beyond human hearing. Whether this was coincidence or intention remained the subject of passionate debate, but the alignment of organic compounds, crystalline structures, and magnetic emissions suggested a phenomenon beyond anything cataloged in science so far. What shocked scientists most wasn't just the novelty of the structure, but the way it forced convergence across disciplines. Geologists, biologists, physicists, and chemists all found themselves drawn into the same circle of questions. No single field could claim jurisdiction over the mystery. It demanded collaboration, integration of knowledge, and humility in the face of the unknown. For many, it was the most exhilarating moment of their careers, a chance to confront something that refused to be boxed neatly into established categories. The excitement has reached beyond Minnesota, pulling in global attention. Satellite imaging confirmed faint alterations in ground conductivity around the site, extending far wider than the exposed formation itself. Entire square miles of terrain seemed to be humming faintly with a new electrical profile, detectable only with advanced instruments. Such changes suggested that the visible emergence was only a fragment of a phenomenon much larger, woven invisibly through the bedrock. That scale unsettled scientists further, raising the possibility that what they were seeing was merely the tip of something vast lying dormant beneath the Midwest. This discovery has ignited conversations not just about science, but about humanity's place in the universe. If the structure is terrestrial, it demonstrates a facet of Earth's creativity we never imagined, an ability to sculpt lifelike complexity from stone and time. If it is extraterrestrial, it may stand as proof that we are not alone, that messages or artifacts from beyond have been seeded into our world, waiting for the right moment to rise. Either possibility reshapes the boundaries of what we know. As researchers continue to probe, the sense of awe remains palpable. Minnesota, a state often associated with serene lakes and winter silence, has become the stage for one of the most compelling scientific revelations in living memory. Something hidden, ancient, and impossibly complex has stepped into the light. Its emergence shocks not because it frightens, but because it awakens. It awakens curiosity, humility, and a deep recognition that the world still holds secrets capable of rewriting what we think we know about life, matter, and the universe itself. The emergence in Minnesota continues to unfold in ways that refuse simplification. Every hour that scientists spend studying the site yields data that seems to deepen the mystery instead of solving it. What began as a startling appearance has developed into a living puzzle with so many layers that even seasoned researchers are finding their expertise stretched to new frontiers. The sheer richness of the phenomenon means that no stone can be left unturned, and the excitement builds not from easy answers, but from the tantalizing complexity of what has risen from the earth. One of the most immediate questions concerns age. How long had this structure been embedded within the ground before surfacing? Core samples from the surrounding soil provided some of the first clues. Layers of sediment wrapped tightly against the object bore markers consistent with deposits tens of thousands of years old. Pollen grains, compressed fossils, and traces of glacial till suggested the object had been locked in place since the last great ice sheets retreated from the region. If accurate, this means it remained buried throughout the rise and fall of entire civilizations, hidden while forests grew, indigenous peoples flourished, and European settlers transformed the land. That temporal depth carries with it an almost eerie sense of patience, as if the object was never truly gone, only biding its time beneath Minnesota's quiet terrain. Dating the object itself proved trickier. Standard radiocarbon methods faltered, as the mixture of inorganic and organic material resisted clear readings. Attempts to use uranium-thorium dating on crystalline sections produced contradictory results, with some samples suggesting millions of years of stability, while others hinted at far younger formation. These inconsistencies puzzled geochronologists, who speculated that the unique properties of the object may interfere with normal radioactive decay processes. The inability to pin down a clear age added fuel to speculation that the object was not shaped by ordinary geological means at all. Another layer of intrigue emerged from isotopic analysis. Certain crystalline sections contained isotopes of elements rarely found in significant concentrations on Earth. Ratios of these isotopes did not align with known terrestrial distributions, suggesting that the material's origin may lie outside our planet. This evidence, though preliminary, electrified astrophysicists. If confirmed, Minnesota could be hosting a fragment of cosmic matter that either seeded itself into Earth's crust eons ago, or was delivered here by forces we do not yet understand. While the geologists wrestled with dating and isotopic puzzles, biologists probed the organic compounds embedded in the crystalline lattice. They discovered arrangements of amino acids with left-right symmetry opposite to that of terrestrial life. Life on Earth overwhelmingly uses left-handed amino acids. Right-handed versions are rare and usually artificially synthesized in labs. Yet within the Minnesota object, right-handed chains formed stable, repeating patterns, structured as if they were intentional. This discovery stunned molecular biologists, who pointed out that such symmetry could represent an entirely separate pathway for life's chemistry. It may not be life in the familiar sense, but it demonstrates that the universe's toolkit for building complexity is far broader than what Earth alone has revealed. The magnetic anomalies around the object only grew stronger with deeper investigation. Teams brought in superconducting quantum interference devices, among the most sensitive magnetic detectors available, to map the field with unprecedented precision. What they found was not a random pattern, but a grid of pulses, forming concentric rings radiating outward from the object. Each ring carried subtle variations in frequency, as though the entire system was orchestrated by a hidden order. The resemblance to coded information could not be ignored. Physicists debated whether they were witnessing a natural resonance created by mineral properties or a deliberate structure encoding signals. The possibility of information hidden in magnetism compelled mathematicians to join the effort, searching for repeating numerical sequences that might indicate intention. Meanwhile, ecologists turned their attention to the transformation of the immediate environment. The accelerated growth of vegetation was only the beginning. Insects sampled near the site exhibited unusual behavioral shifts, clustering in dense swarms far larger than expected for the season. Soil microbes demonstrated heightened metabolic activity, breaking down organic matter at rates 2 to 3 times faster than control samples taken just a few miles away. These changes suggested that the object was not merely passive but actively influencing its surroundings. If its influence extended further, Minnesota's ecosystems could be on the verge of shifts that might ripple outward, altering plant cycles, insect populations, and perhaps even migratory behaviors of larger animals. The human response among those present at the site was just as fascinating. Many reported a subtle hum in the air, not loud enough to register on instruments, but perceptible as a faint vibration in the chest and skull. Some described it as a resonance that seemed to synchronize with their own heartbeat, leaving them lightheaded or unusually alert. Psychologists began documenting these reactions, noting that while they could not measure the hum directly, its reported consistency across individuals suggested an effect not rooted in imagination. The notion that the object might interact with human physiology introduced another unsettling dimension, raising ethical questions about prolonged exposure and its effects on health. In laboratories, attempts to recreate the object's properties met with repeated failure. Researchers synthesized crystalline lattices using known minerals and tried embedding amino acids within them, but the results lacked the stability and complexity of the original. High-pressure experiments mimicking subterranean conditions offered no breakthroughs either. This inability to replicate the structure underscored its uniqueness. It was not something easily explained away as an artifact of pressure, heat, or time. Instead, it seemed to carry a signature of design, whether by natural laws far beyond current comprehension or by forces yet unidentified. The possibility of a vast underground system attached to the exposed fragment also grew harder to ignore. Ground-penetrating radar and seismic scans revealed branching extensions reaching deep into the crust. These extensions were irregular, not like cracks or faults, but resembling veins or networks. The scale was immense, stretching far beyond the immediate site. Some speculated that Minnesota might be sitting atop a buried network spanning miles, with only a single node having breached the surface. If true, then the visible structure was merely the opening act of something much grander, hidden beneath the state's bedrock. This realization raised questions about why it emerged here, in this particular place. Minnesota's geological history is tied to ancient shield rocks, some of the oldest exposed formations on Earth. Could these stable foundations have provided the perfect cradle for something that needed immense timescales to develop? Or was there something unique about the magnetic or mineral composition of the region that acted as a trigger? Researchers combed through historical records, folklore, and indigenous oral traditions, searching for hints that others had noticed anomalies in the area long before modern instruments. Though speculative, some accounts of shimmering lights, strange growth patterns, and unnatural animal gatherings in certain forested parts of Minnesota echoed the phenomena now observed at the site. Such correlations, though circumstantial, suggested the possibility that the object had been influencing the environment in subtle ways for centuries, perhaps only recently reaching a threshold that made its presence undeniable. The shock among scientists is not rooted merely in data, but in the philosophical weight of the discovery. Here is a phenomenon that blurs the line between life and non-life, matter and message, Earth and cosmos. For centuries, science has relied on boundaries. Biology distinct from geology, physics distinct from chemistry. The Minnesota emergence challenges those divisions, forcing a reconsideration of the categories that have shaped modern thought. If matter can organize itself in ways that appear alive, if crystals can house the blueprints of biology, then the origin of life itself becomes a more fluid story than once believed. The broader implications extend into space exploration. If right-handed amino acids and crystalline organic hybrids exist here on Earth, hidden beneath our feet, they may also be scattered across other planets and moons. Mars, with its ancient crust, or Europa, with its hidden ocean, could harbor similar architectures waiting to be uncovered. The Minnesota object becomes not just a local curiosity, but a template for what humanity might encounter as it reaches deeper into the solar system. In universities and research centers around the world, debates flare with renewed vigor. Some argue this is the strongest terrestrial evidence yet that life, or precursors to it, may not be unique to Earth. Others insist the discovery highlights the untapped creativity of Earth's own chemistry, a reminder that we have not exhausted the possibilities of our planet's natural processes. Both perspectives are exhilarating, for each opens a horizon rich with new questions, experiments, and theories. Even in the absence of aftermath or future projections, the event itself stands as a revelation of staggering proportions. Something unimaginable lay dormant beneath Minnesota until now, a bridge between categories we thought separate. Its crystalline towers, amino acid symmetries, magnetic pulses, and ecological impacts all testify to the universe's capacity for wonder. Scientists standing humbled before it recognize that they are at the threshold of understanding something that could take generations to unravel. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on what just emerged in Minnesota shocking scientists? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.